Hello everyone, welcome to my first video. Earlier today, I shared my first thoughts on the shocking assassination of Charlie Kirk. But just moments ago, new updates have come in, so what you're hearing now includes the very latest developments. Charlie Kirk, as many of you know, has tragically been assassinated. He was a devoted Christian, a family man, and a passionate American. He had the rare ability to dismantle weak arguments, whether from the left or right, with calmness, respect, and strength. He stood firm in his beliefs without ever shouting others down or treating anyone unfairly. Many even described him as a blend of Rush Limbaugh's fire and Billy Graham's faith. My deepest condolences go out to his family, friends, and supporters. This act of political violence is both devastating and shocking. A manhunt is underway, with the FBI releasing images of a suspect and confirming the recovery of a high-powered rifle nearby. Still, no arrests have been made. What's equally disturbing are the reactions online. I've seen people openly rejoicing over his death, celebrating it as if it were something good. If you ever doubted the presence of evil, this kind of response makes it undeniable. From everything I've seen of Charlie, whether on stage, on video, or in impromptu moments, he was consistently kind, respectful, and full of love for others. And later in this report, I'll also be covering disturbing comments made on MSNBC by Mr. Dowd, which led to his immediate firing.
President Trump first reported the news on Truth Social. This is what he wrote. The great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead. No one understood or had the heart of the youth in the United States of America better than Charlie. He was loved and admired by all, especially me, and now he is no longer with us. Melania, and my sympathies go out to his beautiful wife, Erica, and family. Charlie, we love you. We'll play his comments in a minute. Also, President Trump ordered all American flags to be flown at half-staff now through 6 p.m. on Sunday. And tonight, the manhunt for the shooter continues after one subject was brought into custody but released after an interrogation with law enforcement. According to the FBI Director, Kash Patel, I hope this individual is found swiftly, brought to justice, and prosecuted to the fullest extent.
In broad daylight at Utah Valley University, Charlie Kirk was scheduled to attend an event. The atmosphere was bright, the sun shining, the mood hopeful. He was there for one of his famous Prove Me Wrong debates, a tour that racked up billions of views across TikTok, Instagram, and other platforms. Kirk had built a movement that inspired young voters toward conservatism, faith, and love for America. But in the middle of that energy, tragedy struck. A senseless act of political violence ended in Charlie Kirk being shot. Video from the scene showed chaos as he collapsed, and though initial reports suggested he was stable after emergency surgery, the damage was too severe. Within minutes, America had lost him. This wasn't just the silencing of a conservative activist. It was the loss of a husband, a father, and a man whose life radiated faith, love, and strength. His wife often shared glimpses of their family's joy online, now shattered by this horrific act. While many across conservative and independent media prayed for Kirk's family, some toxic outlets responded with cruel, heartless words that only added to the pain. A voice that once connected with millions of young Americans is now gone, and his absence leaves a void that can't be replaced.
Now the FBI is looking for the person who shot and killed conservative activist Charlie Kirk. The FBI just released this picture of a person of interest they say that they're looking for. Came down in the last few minutes.
And they say agents recovered the murder weapon. Kirk, a suburban Chicago native, was gunned down yesterday while debating college students on a Utah campus.
The FBI has now released images of a possible suspect, dressed head to toe in black. Grainy footage shows him wearing dark shades and a shirt with a "Live Free, Die Free" style slogan. A clearer image surfaced on Twitter, and if this truly is the man behind Charlie Kirk's assassination, his face needs to be seen everywhere. Witnesses place him around the event in the moments leading up to the shooting. The manhunt is now entering a critical stage, and authorities are urging anyone with information to come forward. If you know something, speak up, not just for Charlie, but for his wife, his kids, and for basic justice. Imagine if it were your father, your brother, or your son. Wouldn't you want answers? This is a major turning point in the investigation. 4 hours after the shooting, no suspects were named. 2 individuals were briefly detained and later released, but now the FBI is piecing together leads, including the firearm believed to have been used. The nation is watching closely as this manhunt unfolds.
FBI agents have been working around the clock in coordination with our law enforcement partners. We are and will continue to work nonstop until we find the person that has committed this heinous crime and find out why they did it. This morning I can tell you that we have recovered what we believe is the weapon that was used in yesterday's shooting. It is a high-powered bolt-action rifle. That rifle was recovered in a wooded area where the shooter had fled. So the FBI laboratory will be analyzing this weapon. Investigators have also collected footwear impression, a palm print, and forearm imprints for analysis. Now, I understand there are a lot of questions about motive. I assure you that all leads, tips are being fully investigated. As of this morning, we have received more than 130 tips. We thank the community for that.
Authorities have confirmed a major breakthrough in the manhunt. A high-powered bolt-action rifle has been recovered from the woods near Utah Valley University. The weapon, along with discarded ammunition, appears to be the very rifle used to assassinate Charlie Kirk. Reports suggest it was fired from over 200 yards away, a shot that required real skill, not luck. Investigators noted disturbing details. The rifle and even shell casings carried scratched-in phrases, some reportedly tied to trans-related ideology, hinting strongly at political motives. The FBI is now disassembling the weapon for fingerprints, DNA, and markings that could lead to the shooter's identity. Special Agent Robert Bowles confirmed the rifle type matched a .30-06 caliber, and authorities believe the shooter abandoned the weapon before fleeing deeper into the wilderness. The FBI is combing through doorbell cameras, community surveillance, and every available tip to trace the suspect's escape route. Law enforcement has made it clear, this manhunt won't stop until justice is served. Even the governor has signaled support for the death penalty if the killer is convicted. For now, the recovered firearm and suspect photo are the strongest leads yet, and if you know anything, report it immediately. Meanwhile, controversy has erupted after MSNBC's Matthew Dowd shockingly blamed Charlie Kirk for his own murder. The backlash was swift, and Dowd has since been fired.
Christina Coleman is back live with that. Christina.
That's right, Tracy. We're hearing that this political contributor, Matthew Dowd, got fired. And unfortunately, some on the left in the media, they've made some controversial comments following Charlie Kirk's political assassination. Take a listen.
After one of the Doge employees was allegedly attacked in Washington, D.C., that's what Donald Trump used as justification to send in federal troops into Washington, D.C. to get things under control. You can imagine the administration using this as a justification for something.
We don't know if this was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration, or so we have no idea about this. But following up on what was just said, he's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech.
Yeah, so that comment got him in some pretty big trouble. MSNBC quickly addressed how inappropriate it was, writing, quote, "During our breaking news coverage of the shooting of Charlie Kirk, Matthew Dowd made comments that were inappropriate, insensitive, and unacceptable. We apologize for his statements, as has he. There is no place for violence in America, political or otherwise." And tonight, President Donald Trump also called out anyone making comments demonizing those who disagree with him.
What happened on MSNBC during this tragedy was almost beyond words. Before the public even knew Charlie Kirk's condition, contributor Matthew Dowd took the airwaves to attack him, calling his views controversial. That's not just sickening, it's disgraceful. Controversial for what? For telling the truth? For sharing science and basic biology with respect and clarity? Even Jeffree Star, a media mogul far from politics, spoke out, saying it's ridiculous how the left loses their minds over simple facts. If someone like Jeffree Star can recognize that, then calling Kirk controversial is absurd. Charlie Kirk wasn't spreading hate, he was persuading, debating, and inviting open conversation. His Prove Me Wrong events brought students together to ask questions, challenge ideas, and engage in civil debate. That's democracy in action. Charlie Kirk set the standard for how political discourse should look in America. Strong, respectful, peaceful, and fearless. That's why Turning Point USA must continue his mission, because if it stops, evil wins. As for MSNBC, yes, Dowd was fired. But let's be honest, was it because of what he said, or because of the backlash they couldn't ignore? Either way, such vile and irresponsible commentary has no place in public media. He has the right to speak on his own platforms, but no American should give credibility to someone who spits on a man's life while his family was still waiting for news. Thankfully, President Trump later delivered a powerful Oval Office speech, directly calling out those who demonize conservatives at times like this.
It's a long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year, in the most hateful and despicable way possible.
That's right, no room for that. And again, Fox Digital reporting that MSNBC has fired political analyst Matthew Dowd over his inappropriate comments today, according to two sources.
President Trump's warning about the non-stop demonization of conservatives couldn't be more accurate. 4 years, Republican leaders have been targeted. Trump himself twice, Steve Scalise on a baseball field, and now Charlie Kirk. Just last year, Trump nearly lost his life when a bullet grazed his ear, and watching what unfolded last night felt hauntingly similar. That same dread hit me. What does this mean for America? How will people respond? These were supposed to be peaceful events. But constant negative coverage paints conservatives as villains. Evil even. Evil for what? For believing we're all created in the image of God, that every person has value, and that we should be free to discuss ideas without fear of being canceled, silenced, or worse, murdered. That relentless demonization fuels violence. We all hoped the tragedy in Butler would mark the end of political bloodshed. Instead, we're seeing civil debate replaced by political violence, a dangerous sign for the future of America. How we respond now is crucial. This isn't just about politics, it's about violence in general. Yes, there's much work to do on gun violence, but none of it can begin until the media stops demonizing conservatives and stoking the flames of hate.
My administration will find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity and to other political violence, including the organizations that fund it and support it, as well as those who go after our judges, law enforcement officials, and everyone else who brings order to our country. From the attack on my life in Butler, Pennsylvania last year, which killed a husband and father, to the attacks on ICE agents, to the vicious murder of a healthcare executive in the streets of New York, to the shooting of House Majority Leader Steve Scalise and 3 others, radical left political violence has hurt too many innocent people and taken too many lives. Tonight, I ask all Americans to commit themselves to the American values for which Charlie Kirk lived and died, the values of free speech, citizenship, the rule of law, and the patriotic devotion and love of God. Charlie was the best of America, and the monster who attacked him was attacking our whole country. An assassin tried to silence him with a bullet, but he failed, because together we will ensure that his voice, his message, and his legacy will live on for countless generations to come. Today, because of this heinous act, Charlie's voice has become bigger and grander than ever before.
President Trump also highlighted the disturbing trend of violent crimes and assassination attempts targeting conservatives, often carried out by radical-minded individuals on the left. Why does this keep happening? Because liberal media, from mainstream outlets to countless YouTube channels and Instagram pages, run non-stop campaigns to demonize and dehumanize conservatives. That toxic narrative creates an atmosphere where violence feels justified to the unstable. Trump himself has been a victim more than once, narrowly surviving attempts on his life. And sadly, as history shows, if enough attempts are made, one eventually succeeds. That's what happened to Charlie Kirk. He knew the risks of being an outspoken conservative, but he did not deserve his fate. Charlie engaged politics the right way. He spoke to young people, even those who strongly disagreed with him. He listened, let them speak, and then responded with calm, respectful answers. Even when debates grew heated, he never shouted anyone down. He represented true civil discourse. But when the other side weaponizes hatred, paints conservatives as evil, and normalizes violence through constant negative coverage, tragedies like this become inevitable. Whether the shooter acted alone, was mentally unstable, or influenced by outside forces, the result is the same: violence wrongly used as a solution. This is not just a political issue, it's a cultural one. Violence is being normalized in America, fueled by toxic rhetoric and amplified through social media. Under Biden, and what could have been under Harris, it has only worsened. Charlie Kirk's murder is proof of how dangerous this environment has become. He was effective, he was persuasive, and for that, he became a target. Charlie Kirk was a victim of senseless violence that he never deserved.
Let's wait a minute. The House will be in order. The House will be in order. Shh. The House will be in order.
Can you tell those of us who weren't there what was happening there?
Yeah, we had convened. We were having an oath of office ceremony for a new member who was just elected in a special election, a Democrat. And we were going to vote in a series of votes on the National Defense Authorization Act. But before that, this was right after the event, we had just convened the House again, and I thought it was appropriate to have a moment of prayer and reflection for Charlie Kirk. As I was approaching the rostrum, people's phones were saying that he had been deceased, but it wasn't formally called yet. The emotion was very high in the room. We had a moment of silence, and after that, a member stood to be recognized and said, "Let's have open prayer." And that started a debate. And people felt like it was being politicized on the Democrat side of the aisle, I guess. There were some shouts and groans, and then the Republicans responded, and it turned into a little bit of chaos there. We had to bring order back and get back to it. But I think that was a reflection of the emotion of the moment, the real sense of kind of shock that people were feeling, I think justifiably understand.
Yesterday, I saw something that shook me. The House of Representatives couldn't even hold a simple moment of silence for Charlie Kirk after the tragedy. Instead, members broke into shouting matches over something as basic as prayer. It was embarrassing, almost as bad as the reckless commentary aired on MSNBC just moments earlier. The tragedy itself was already heartbreaking. I saw the video, and honestly, I wish I hadn't. The moment it happened, I knew it was bad. I prayed when I heard he was stable, but in today's world of AI and fake videos, it's hard to even trust what we see. Still, I hoped we'd witness another miracle like Butler. But instead of unity, we saw division. Congress arguing, the media fueling ugliness, and reports of suspects being released only deepened the chaos. Some say someone's been caught, others aren't so sure. Videos of a man on a rooftop only add to the confusion. One thing is clear, this act of political violence shows we desperately need solutions. Yes, there's a mental health crisis. Yes, conservatives are constantly demonized in the media. But even beyond that, we need real answers. Do we have to turn every political rally into an airport-style security zone just to keep people safe? Is that the future of America? At the same time, compassion matters. People struggling with their identities deserve empathy, but that cannot come at the cost of silencing voices. Mental health issues must be addressed. Social media glorifying violence must be confronted. Watching people online cheer for this tragedy was pure evil. If we allow political hate and the normalization of violence to spread, America faces a real existential crisis.
The manhunt continues this morning for the shooter responsible for killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
All right, it happened at a college campus in Utah yesterday, and no person of interest has been named as of now. In other words, they're still looking for whoever did this. Good Day's Haley Fixler is here now this morning with what we know and a lot of what we don't know.
Good morning, Dan, Tashani. Yeah, a lot of unanswered questions this morning, like who did this, why, and why hasn't the shooter been found yet? Authorities did take 2 people into custody throughout the day yesterday, but have backtracked and say neither had anything to do with the shooting. So here is what we do know. The 31-year-old husband and father of 2 young kids was killed doing what he was known for, debating college students on campus. He was at Utah Valley University, which was set to be the first stop of a Turning Point USA campus tour. Turning Point is a conservative organization that was co-founded by Kirk when he was 18 years old. He's known for opening up a dialogue and entering into debates with students who have different views. Now, Kirk was responding to a member of the audience when a single shot was fired from afar. The bullet hit Kirk's neck. Utah's governor is calling it a political assassination.
The FBI dropped several updates early in the investigation, saying 2 people of interest were questioned but later released for lack of evidence. At first, I felt hopeful. Maybe they found the suspect. But when it turned out not to be him, I was at least relieved that the FBI was being transparent, unlike the tight-lipped Butler situation. Even if the updates were disappointing, at least they showed progress. Still, the reality remains. The person behind this horrifying act is likely still out there. The FBI now faces a massive challenge, and the public wants answers fast. Some even wonder if this was a trained professional. Hitting a long-distance moving target isn't easy. It takes skill. Witnesses only reported a dark figure on nearby rooftops, but no real trail exists yet. Prosecutors have already pledged the harshest punishment possible, even the death penalty in Utah. But first, the suspect must be caught. And then, there's the family. My heart breaks for Charlie's wife and kids. His children will grow up watching videos of their father instead of hearing his voice in the hallway or seeing him on family trips. That pain is unimaginable. From all of us here at Zone Media Network, our deepest condolences go to his family, friends, supporters, and colleagues. Charlie Kirk's voice deserves to live on. He represented moral excellence, showing how debates should be handled, with respect, reason, and kindness. His legacy should remind us what true leadership looks like. This act of political violence is not who we are as Americans. We are strong, we love deeply, and we care for our families. That is the America Charlie believed in. Take care, everyone.